I'm going to teach you how to play Xendo. Xendo is a game in which nature creates a rule about clusters of colored pyramids, and the scientists do experiments to determine the rule. For this game, you will have stacks of pyramids in different colors and different sizes, small, medium, and large. Each scientist will also have a green tag and a red tag that they can use to vote. Nature will come up with a rule. Then they will build two clusters, one that obeys the rule and one that does not, and mark them with green and red tags. For example, if nature came up with a rule such as every cluster must have at least one small triangle, they might create two clusters like this, marking the one that follows the rule as correct, and this one which does not follow the rule as incorrect. The scientists will be figuring out nature's rule. The first thing a scientist will do on their turn is make any sort of cluster. So maybe I will make something like this. When you make a cluster, you have two options, peer review or evaluate. Usually you want to do peer review. During peer review, all scientists guess whether the cluster satisfies the rule of nature or not by holding out a red or green tag, and those who guess correctly earn grant funding tokens. Near the end of the game, you may choose Evaluate, because then the nature player just reports whether or not your guess fits the rule by marking it red or green, without giving funding tokens to your fellow scientists. If you have funding tokens at the end of your turn, you can spend them to guess the rule. You may offer a token and propose a rule, like, I think that all clusters must not have any yellow triangles. Everyone should check that your rule is consistent with all clusters on the board. If someone finds a counterexample, you can revise your guess or pass. If no one does, then you pay nature your token, and nature will either construct a counterexample where it fits your rule but not nature's, or fits nature's but not yours. Or they may declare that you have won because your rule is equivalent to theirs. The rules of nature can involve color, size, or the number of pieces in each cluster. They can be based on the direction the triangles are pointing, or if they are stacked or not, or if they are touching or not. They cannot be based off compass direction or surrounding objects. They cannot be based off proximity to the table edge or to other clusters. There cannot be any hidden pyramids. Basically, any person at the table should have enough information to determine if a cluster fits a rule or not without reference to other clusters or viewing perspective. One last important note, once a cluster is created, only nature is allowed to touch the cluster. Scientists are not allowed to touch any of nature's or the other scientists' clusters. If someone needs more pyramids to build their cluster, the group can decide collectively which clusters to take down, but nature should be the only one to physically take the clusters down.